You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Top of mind for many dealers today is the issue of affordability. We are still seeing potential buyers priced out of the used car market. That's right, I said the used car market, because we see how prices are changing, and the prices of cars right now, whether it be new or used, are all over the map. So we're learning, what, if any, is being done to overcome this challenge and how consumers are responding. Joining me now is Seth Rosen, who's the used car director of Subaru of Jacksonville. Seth, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think you guys invite me.
Sure. How is business right now at Subaru of Jacksonville?
So far, it's been pretty steady. A little slow down from February, but overall, it's been a solid first half of the month for March.
Yeah, you mentioned to me before we went on air today that February was a record month for you.
Yeah, on the used car side of things, we had a record month for the history of the company, which was terrific.
Congratulations.
New cars was solid. Thank you. New cars was solid as well. Overall, the team was fantastic, and we just capitalized.
That's great. That's great. What day supply do you have, and what do you typically run in terms of the daily supply of vehicles?
On the used car side of things, right now, day supply is right around 40 days.
40 days. Okay. And is that where you want to keep it? Is that a number that works well?
I think so. Probably a little less would be more ideal, but overall, our goal right now at the dealership is to sell about 150 used cars a month. Last month we did 152, so we did hit that.
Nice.
Down the road, we'd like to get to 200, but I think turning the cars quicker and pricing them a little more aggressively than traditionally in the past on the used car side of things is probably the route we will go with moving forward.
Sure. What are your top sources to get vehicles for the used car lot? Yeah,
as of right now, top sources are trades. We do a little outsourcing in regards to auction. We try to keep that as minimal as possible, but again, to try to build volume, you got to go outside of just trades. So we have been using the auction a little bit as well.
You mean people actually trade their Subarus in? That's good.
They actually do.
I thought they kept those things till 500,000 miles, and then
a lot of people, a lot of customers do like to keep them for a long time. But you'd be surprised. A lot of them trade after 3 or 4 years as well.
Sure. That brings up a good point. If a nice clean Subaru comes in, that's 2021, and it's got 80,000 miles on it, 90,000 miles on it. Is that a car that would make it to the lot?
Absolutely. We always do a safety check in our shop before we put it on the lot. We want to make sure we feel good and comfortable of selling it to the consumer. So as long as it passes our safety check in the shop, then yes, it will go to the lot.
And there's two-part question here. And there are consumers that want that car, and there are banks that will finance it?
Correct. There is on both questions there. Typically, the older the car is and the higher the miles, it probably gets more directed towards a credit union. They're a little more open in that regard with an older car with higher miles.
Yeah.
So that's kind of direction we go, but we will try to retail anything that passes through the shop safely. Okay. And we feel the lower expense of the vehicle is actually more affordable it is for a consumer.
Yeah, for sure. Now, with the average price of a used car being what it is today, affordability is at the forefront of every manager's mind. Are you having some challenges in that area? Although it sounds like finishing a record month, I guess not that many challenges. But talk to us about affordability on the used car side.
Yeah, affordability is probably on everyone's mind in every dealership across the country.
Yeah.
I think we're probably a little fortunate in regards to Subaru because most of their vehicles on the new side of things aren't extremely expensive comparatively speaking to other manufacturers.
Sure.
So a lot of our trades allow us to price those vehicles probably in a lot more affordable range than maybe some other manufacturers are going through. So the average investment for our used vehicles right now is I would say between $23,000 and $24,000.
Okay. That's not too bad. How about when an EV rolls up for an appraisal? What do you do in that case? I know that makes a lot of used car managers that I've spoken to a little nervous.
Yeah, right now I think that market everybody's trying to figure out. There's two ways to look at it. You either can despise it or embrace it. I think we would like to embrace it. We obviously still trying to figure out what that market is exactly.
Yeah.
But I certainly would be a little cautious in regards to the ACV of the vehicle, and maybe just have to over-allow to put a deal together in that regard. But depending what it is with the miles and the condition, not afraid to retail it.
Okay. Have you had much success retailing EVs?
Depending on what they are and what price point, we've had a few used Teslas that we've done well with at the right price.
Okay.
So in that regard, yes, it just comes down to, again, I think price point, like anything else, and condition.
And then in terms of marketing, we saw that last few years after COVID, dealers were able to dial back their marketing dollars because you couldn't find enough. There were a plethora of customers out there for every car. Where does that stand today? Are you back to normal levels of marketing, prior to COVID hitting?
Yeah, it's certainly back to pre-COVID normalcy with marketing. We're on a lot of different third-party sites to try to drive as much traffic as we can.
What are some of the challenges that you may see for the balance of the year? Is there anything lurking out there? Is it the current economy? Is that a concern at all?
I think that certainly will play a part. I think also the presidential election, because there's just so much unknown, will play a part. I think inflation will play a part still, because it's still kind of high. And, until a lot of those things get figured out, I think the rest of 2024 will be very volatile. Yeah.
It's going to be hold on to every deal that you can, right?
Correct. You got to not worry about maybe as much gross as it was in the COVID market, and just worry about moving the cars.
Sure. Are banks buying as deep as they were over the last few years?
No,
they're not.
No, they've tightened up. Probably just the same economic wins that we see in the dealerships.
And have you seen credit scores dip at all among your consumers?
I haven't.
Okay.
We've seen a lot of prime credit, and again, a lot of Subaru clientele has that type of credit.
Yeah.
So
it's a great franchise.
We haven't seen that side effect.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. So you're planning for another good year in 2024.
Absolutely.
That's great. Seth Rosen, one more time. Seth Rosen, the used car director at Subaru of Jacksonville. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we thank all of you for tuning in. And don't forget that you can watch all of our content right here at CBT News, now on Roku TV and Apple TV. So, Seth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.